Hey, this is Neil's Han Dynasty. Please like, share, and subscribe. Buy some silver, some platinum, and crystallized osmium. Be kind, helpful, and grateful. Don't listen to me. Everything I say is to be taken as bullshit. This is for fun, not for profit or health. Now I got all the bullcrap out of the way. We can get to the fun stuff, I guess, which is us being bored. And let's see, what else do we have? There's more to it than this. We have some interesting stuff. This is from Operation News Network. 6 hours ago. Give them a thumbs up, see what they got to say.
I'm Joy Redmond. An FBI operation ended in dozens arrested, including police officers, sheriff's deputies, and 2 sheriffs in the Mississippi Delta. According to the FBI, the indictment for these arrests stem from a drug trafficking operation that ended here in Memphis. Action News 5's Amani Williams joining us live now in studio. Amani, you actually looked through the indictments.
Yeah, the FBI calls this operation corruption. The indictment says the law enforcement officers received up to $37,000 for allegedly escorting drugs through the Mississippi Delta.
People, oftentimes some criminals who, when arrested, they were complaining about having to pay bribes to various individuals. And when the FBI followed up on that, lo and behold, found out that was the case. Law enforcement officers and their accomplices are alleged to have agreed to provide safe passage for illegal narcotics and drug proceeds to the Mississippi Delta region, and ultimately on the last of those runs into Memphis itself.
According to the indictment, the drug they allegedly helped run 25 kilos of cocaine, leading to thousands of dollars in payments.
And will prove that we will not tolerate corruption amongst America's criminal justice system. That the public placed in them disgraced the badge and undermined the hard work of good law enforcement officers across this state and across the region.
At 4:18 a.m. in Cobb County, Georgia, federal teams forced open a door that would expose one of the deepest betrayals of public trust this state has ever seen. What started as an ordinary traffic stop quickly led investigators to a secure room inside a judge's own office, where crates of drugs, stacks of cash, and sealed records revealed a criminal pipeline running through the courthouse itself. Over the next 48 hours, coordinated raids across several states uncovered nearly 2 tons of narcotics, hundreds of weapons, and financial trails worth millions.
We've been in consultation with the FBI in regard to this matter, and while I can't speak publicly to the details of it, I can just say that I'm very, very grateful for the FBI's work in protecting the community and keeping people safe.
More shocking, 21 sworn law enforcement officers and multiple court employees were tied to the operation, a system engineered to hide trafficking under the very authority meant to stop it. If you want the full, step-by-step breakdown of how the FBI and ICE uncovered this network and how America fights back, hit like and comment stop. A black SUV pulled over in Macon revealed 2 loaded pistols, nearly $48,000 in cash, and a single sealed envelope labeled Courthouse Drop, Friday. The name on the envelope belonged to a courthouse clerk. That odd detail set off alarms. Analysts began to dig into court logs, arrest files, and financial records, and they found irregularities. Missing files, delayed warrants, and altered evidence entries. That pattern suggested the problem wasn't external, it was coming from inside. Forensic accountants followed the money. What they uncovered was methodical and brazen. Weekly envelope payments, unexplained deposits and transfers inconsistent with official salaries.
The FBI tonight saying it thwarted a potential Halloween terror plot in Michigan, multiple arrests. The FBI says suspects had firearms training and that they had intercepted communications, including messages referring to Pumpkin Day.
And we continue to follow a story out of Dearborn, where the FBI says it stopped a potential terrorist attack from happening this Halloween weekend. 5 people between the ages of 16 and 20 are now in custody.
21 officers from multiple counties showed the same suspicious activity. Coordinated shifts, identical off-duty schedules, and bank deposits that didn't add up. Further tracing showed the funds originated from shell companies and offshore accounts linked to a larger criminal network. The role of these officers was clear: escorting shipments, turning a blind eye at checkpoints, and manipulating records to let illicit cargo move unchallenged. On the 3rd floor of the courthouse, behind a locked utility door and a stack of filing cabinets, agents discovered a fully operational communications hub. Inside were encrypted radios, laptops routing traffic offshore, relabeled evidence bags, court stamps and drives containing sealed case files. Wall clocks were set to Georgia, Mexico, and the Dominican Republic, a chilling reminder of the cross-border coordination.
Happening, the FBI announcing indictments against 20 people, including 14 current and former Mississippi and Tennessee police officers in a drug-related bribery probe. So prosecutors accuse the officers of providing escort services to drug traffickers in exchange for bribes. So joining us live now is Anna Schechter, head of our crime and policing unit.
This wasn't sloppy corruption. It was an organized operation run on administrative authority. Federal, state, and local agencies assembled into a single command. The FBI, ICE, Homeland Security, U.S. Marshals, and cooperating state troopers. They planned simultaneous warrants across 7 states: Georgia, Florida, Texas, New Jersey, New York, Illinois, and Alabama, to prevent escape and evidence destruction. At 3:42 a.m., teams moved in. Perimeter locks, breach teams, K-9 units, and tactical entry teams. Every step was coordinated to stop suspects from communicating or moving contraband out of reach. Agents breached the judge's administrative office and found staffers trying to shred documents and erase digital traces. In a secured storage room, they opened a steel door and were stunned. 700 lbs of meth, 900 lbs of cocaine, nearly 400,000 fentanyl pills, and a cache of rifles and handguns. Evidence that had been seized in prior cases appeared to have been rerouted back into circulation, not destroyed, but repackaged and laundered through courthouse processes. The scale and brazenness were undeniable. One by one, implicated officers were confronted. Some surrendered without resistance, others tried to flee and were boxed in by federal vehicles. Statements captured during arrest revealed an astonishing claim from one officer. We were told the judge approved it. That claim pointed to misuse of court authority. While the named judge maintained he had no knowledge of the scheme, his aides and clerks, the people who handled schedules, filings, and authorizations, were central to the operation. Across the 7 raid locations, the pattern repeated: conversion sites, repackaging hubs, and distribution points. In Savannah, a riverfront warehouse contained packaging machinery and shipment logs tied to Venezuelan ports. In Houston, industrial suites held precursor chemicals, sealed drums, and conversion equipment. In New Jersey, a trucking hub served as a distribution nexus with refrigerated trailers used to hide shipments. Drone teams and thermal imaging prevented escapes. K-9 units and armored entry teams secured sites. Altogether, federal teams cataloged roughly 1.8 metric tons of narcotics, recovered 312 firearms, and seized assets totaling in the hundreds of millions. The most damning evidence was bureaucratic. Ledgers, emails, and encrypted chats that documented payments, drop schedules, and clearance guarantees. Investigators discovered lists that explicitly referenced approval and clearance by courthouse personnel. Shell companies in Delaware, Panama, and elsewhere were used to launder proceeds. Wire transfers were disguised as consulting fees. Property transactions covered up cash flows. One entry reportedly read plainly, "Hale guarantees clearance, do not deviate." The phrase underscored how administrative authority was weaponized to keep shipments moving. News of the raids sparked immediate outrage. Citizens protested outside courthouses, demanding resignations and prosecutions. Elected officials convened emergency sessions. Several county sheriffs tendered resignations. Police unions distanced themselves from the 21 officers under investigation. Critics accused federal agencies of overreach, while community leaders demanded full accountability. For many residents, the raids confirmed long-held suspicions. The system had been compromised. Federal prosecutors prepared sweeping indictments. Charges are expected to include narcotics trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and misuse of public office. The investigation expanded beyond arrests to asset forfeiture, court record audits, and a review of past case handling. Municipal and state agencies began internal audits. Federal oversight teams moved to secure court processes and protect ongoing prosecutions from tampering. Beyond drugs and money, the human toll was enormous. Families shattered by addiction, neighborhoods exposed to violence, and trust eroded in institutions meant to protect citizens. Schools, churches, and local businesses felt the ripple effects. For many, the revelations were personal. People who once trusted the system now feel betrayed. That damage is harder to quantify, but longer lasting than any seized shipment. This case is not only a local scandal, it illustrates how criminal networks exploit institutions when oversight fails. When court authority, law enforcement power, and municipal processes are subverted, the consequences cascade. Drugs flow easier, violence follows, and public confidence collapses. The raids demonstrate that dismantling sophisticated trafficking networks requires cross-agency intelligence, financial forensics, and the political will to prosecute everyone involved, regardless of position or rank.
So what do y'all think about that? They're rounding up sheriff deputies, all part of this narco-terrorist thing. Because as all of us have known and TV has never said, the drugs come across the border, but to get across the border, they got to pay someone off. And it starts there. So I'm glad that they're rounding up the people that are have been paid off to allow this stuff to happen on our side. And that also shows that they're actually doing something, because if they're picking up people on this side, they're going to be picking up people on the other side, which means that all the special forces operations going after the narco-terrorists are indeed going to be happening, which means we're probably going to have political issues, because narco-terrorist people obviously have a lot of people in their pockets in the political and law enforcement arena. Part of the cleaning house, of the cleaning the swamp, draining the swamp, as they say. So yeah, I just wanted to bring this report to you because, well, I couldn't sleep and it seemed interesting. So does anyone have anything else they want to talk about? Nope. I ain't got nothing else. I can show you what, let's see. Yeah. Do a share screen here for y'all. Since y'all already know anyhow, I'll be all silver bugs. There we go. Yeah, shit is happening. There's also the congresswoman about 6 weeks ago who, along with the mayor of the town, went to an ICE facility and kind of like busted in and assaulted a lot of ICE agents and stuff like this. And she was trying to say that they assaulted her. Well, her appeal judge that she went to just said, no, you can't have appeal for it to be a dropped charges. They're going to prosecute. So there's a congresswoman that's going to be prosecuted for assault, battery, and trespassing on a federal facility and all this other stuff. That's going to be coming down the pipeline as well. So there are a lot of things happening. Just the news really isn't talking about it too much. All right, we have gold closing at 4,080, silver at 50.47, and platinum at 15.41. Looks like it's down for the weekend. Typical smackdown. So you like that kind of stuff, huh? Yeah, if I see more articles about that kind of stuff, I actually have seen a lot. I saw an article earlier, but it was from a private group, and they didn't do public news where they were showing it was a Fox News story. I wanted to wait until someone did the story where it was they had the Fox News story involved with it, so that way I wouldn't get a strike for showing it. But yeah, they're going to be busting. Probably a lot of military guys will be getting busted too. I wouldn't be surprised if you don't hear about that, because they try and get them people to do a lot of their drug smuggling. But anyhow, anything else you guys want to talk about? Like I said, I just wanted to bring this quick story out because I thought it was interesting. What's up, Mike? You want to talk about Washington, Texas? I have a baby kitten that's sick, so I'll probably be up all night. Even though she seems to be sleeping, she's breathing. I put some water with some nutrients in it down her throat because she pooped She didn't. She did throw up, not much, but she did poop. So she's got some stomach issues. Yeah. So like I said, I was gonna be up late because of this sick cat. So I figured, what the hell, do a live stream, see who else is up late at night. It is Friday night afterwards, anyhow. So I knew someone would be up. So we just do general chat. But for general chat, I can only bring the story, and then we can either talk about that story or we can talk about other shit. Yeah, Mike Herrera, you're in the wrong part of the nation, bro. That's like the whole West Coast is screwed along with New York. But it'll get cleaned up. Things take time. Can't go around just arresting everyone all at once, because then people will get upset and start a civil war. So you got to do it in a manner in which it won't be that disruptive to the nation, which means you got to do coordinated strikes, like what, seven state strike, 4 agencies to pick up all those people. Yeah. A lot of things coming faster. Yeah, I've heard of a couple banks closing down. But we have so many banks in America. They regulate them to where they change regulations, they can be shut down. Because what people don't understand is the government forces these banks to follow certain regulations. And the banks take advantage of those regulations. And then when they change those regulations, the banks get caught in the regulations with changing the regulations. And it's like a way to get rid of certain bankers you don't like, is become a politician and change regulations, and then you can get rid of certain bankers. Almost like it's a game. But whatever. You gotta live. And America's the best place to be right now, I guess. Yeah, I don't know where Burien is. I don't know much about Washington. I know it's part of the 10% solution, and that right there disgusts me. And then you go look up there and you see how many cranksters you have that are like white trash. You have shitloads of them up there in Washington, man. It's yeah, the things they've done to this country. Yeah, Nebraska's got its own cryptocurrency coming out for the state, just like in right before 1886. Before the start of the Federal Reserve and income tax and everything else, states used to print money for their state. And then that's when you had state competition. And I've spoke about this a couple of times, where states will be competing for individuals to move their states, saying, oh, we have better school systems, we have lower taxes, we have this, we have that, we have the best this, we have the best that, you know, and they're going to start competing. And that's what's going to be good. It's not going to happen in the next 24 hours. People are so geared up for things to happen so fast. It's pathetic. It'll take a couple of years, because America's a big organization and it takes time to change, but it is changing. Brought you that report yesterday about manufacturing being much needed in America. So the government's going to be pushing that. And anyhow, back to the individual states. I imagine probably in 5 years, every state will have its own cryptocurrency, coin or token or whatever you want to call it. But that's also, there's going to be a new federal bill, physical bill, because we're not going to get rid of physical bills as much as people love digital. I'm sorry, but if you're homeless, good luck keeping a phone to play the digital game. And there is never going to be a successful economy that cuts out half your people. So if you want to have a successful economy, you can't cut out all the homeless people. They have to be part of the economy, which means there will be a physical bill that they will be able to use while they're down and out. And that's just how that works. Unless they find some way to keep homeless people with phones that they won't sell for food or drugs. And like I said, you can't have a successful economy if you cut anyone out of the economy will fail. It'll start off good at first, but longevity of it's going to be negligible. It'll be a guaranteed failure. You got to have a system that includes everybody. And if you're changing up economic systems, in the middle of the game, which is what we're doing, there's going to be chaos. But you've got to be inclusive at the end game. And the conclusiveness of it is inclusion of as many people as possible. For market cap, GDP, you need as many participants in the system as possible. If you cut any of them out, you're cutting your own economic throat and starting a black market and a dark economy that'll actually end up taking over the regular economy. And it's just a loser's game. You have to include everyone in the economy. That's why I know we're going to keep a physical bill, because there's no way feasible to run an economy total digitally, especially with the auroras. You see the auroras? Those were caused by an M3 Carrington event that just happened. So solar winds are hitting us real hard. And anytime you see the aurora borealis a lot further south than normal, that means that a lot of satellites are getting fucked up because they're not protected by the magnetic field. They're outside the magnetic field. And if they're outside the magnetic field, they're susceptible to all the damage of the radiation that's being pushed their way. And that means they go out, and that's why we have disruptions during heavy solar storm events. And if you've watched my channel for a while, about 2 years ago, I did a story stating the height of the solar disruption will be November 2025. Hey, what is this? November 2025. Again, I was expecting this bad Carrington M3 event that just happened because they predicted it. There's got a science of solar cycles. They know all this stuff. I did a report on it. You can go check on it. Neil knew about it. Uneducated high school dropout. Everyone should have known about it. And if you didn't, that's because you're not paying attention. Like I said, the government gives us all the information. We just got to pay attention to it. After November 2025, the solar storm and radiation effects that are happening from the sun are going to wane. And then we'll go into an 11-year cycle that's not going to be bad. Then we'll go into an 11-year cycle that'll ramp up and be the same as it is right now, but it'll be worse because in 20-some years, technology will change. We'll have more satellites, blah, 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 blah. As the wheels on the bus go round and round. But after November, the solar damage from all these solar activities is going to wane big time. It was foretold years ago. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Not about solar storms, although I do know about them. Reported on them for a couple of years. What do you guys know about kitty cats? Is aspirin good for kitty cats? Let's Google that. Nope. Aspirin's not good for cats. Good thing I didn't give them any. So anything else you guys want to talk about? Anyone want to come up on stage and chit chat? All right, well, I need to go check on this baby kitty cat, spend some time with it, and make sure it's going to survive the night. So I'm going to go ahead and end this one. Thank all of you guys for showing up on either Saturday morning or definitely late Friday night. And I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will talk to you later.